You guys look like... What do they look like, Jimmy?
Dorks. They look like a couple of dorks.
Get those nerds! Nerds!
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
What? Are you kidding? We got us a family here. Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
You are listening to the In the Mouth of Dorkness podcast, the official podcast of the Alamo Drafthouse Winchester.
Welcome, everyone, to another edition of the It Modcast podcast. Joining me today is Lisa Gullickson.
Quick, suck it before the venom reaches my heart.
Wife Dork.
My child is like a drug problem?
And also joining me is Brad Gullickson.
And for gosh sake, watch your language.
That's not going away anytime soon.
Mouth Dork.
I'm of a mind to make some moogie.
And I am your host today, Brian Young.
God, I love being a turtle!
The Turtle Dork. I don't have friends. I have family.
Classic.
So welcome to the It Modcast podcast, which I just said in the beginning. You know, this hosting thing, I'm trying to get this down.
We have not
Branding
been
is everything.
we have not been in the Dork Cave in a long, long time. We missed last week because of our Memento screening at the Alamo
That's
Winchester.
right, which was awesome.
So awesome.
Yes.
And today was the Alamo Winchester Psychorama sleepover. And that's why Darren's not here, because he is sleeping.
Yeah. I saw you guys' Facebook Live videos, and, you know, he's like, yeah, I'm definitely going to stay up, but he's probably out like a baby right now.
I mean, he stayed up longer than I did. I don't think he slept much at all during the event. I probably scored about an hour and a half of sleep throughout those 12 hours.
But you were strategizing. It wasn't like you were just drifting off.
I strategized 2 naps, and then I fell asleep in one of the movies.
Tripped over an extra?
I had an extra nap.
Now, I know this is going to be your weekend dork, but I must ask, so was there snoring that you could hear throughout the night?
I thought for sure there was going to be a lot of snoring, but no, not really. In fact, Mike Sesnick, who was one of the sponsors along with ItMod of the Psychorama Sleeporama. Sleepover? Oh, it should be called the Sleeporama. Mike Sesnick provided cowbells in everyone's bag so that if anybody snored, you could rock a cowbell next to their face.
Oh, my God. I would not have survived that screening.
Here's the thing. I never heard a cowbell all night.
But you know, it's like the skunk thing where skunks can't smell themselves, like snorers can't hear snoring.
Yeah, I can attest to that. We can't.
I agreed. I'm right there with you, Brian. And you know, like, it was a packed house. I don't think they sold every seat, but I had Darren on my left and strangers on my right, and we were in the second row. Yeah. I mean, it was a pretty wild night.
That's cool,
Started
man.
at 10 p.m. and ended about noon the next day.
And Brad won an award. I don't know what's going wrong with my face.
No worries.
I can't speak.
I did. I won the Fashion Icon Award.
Oh, I did see your little onesie type of
It was a
pajama.
Godzilla onesie.
Yeah, okay.
A knockoff
Drop
Godzilla.
crotch. I thought it was very daring to wear a drop crotch onesie.
Ooh.
Yeah.
The Psychorama.
Oh, gotta make sure that's fastened up.
Well, I had beneath the Psychorama or the Godzilla onesie, I had the Mandy tiger shirt that Nicolas Cage
I bought
wore.
myself a matching one.
And then, you know, I didn't wear any pants, just like Nicolas Cage in that scene, just straight undies. So
The tidy whities.
tidy whities, that low crotch. What do you call it? Drop crotch?
It's a drop crotch. Drop crotch. Say that 10 times fast.
Drop crotch.
Drop crotch.
Yeah.
We can say it 10 times if we each say it once around through the round robin. There you go. That's how you have to
Right
do
now,
it.
our listeners are like, whoa, where is Darren? Bring him back. We don't care if he's sleeping right now.
It's all good. But yeah, let's no further ado. Let's get into our weeks in Dork. So let's go ahead and start it off. Lisa, how was your week in Dork?
My week in Dork was wonderful. Brad and I managed to catch a movie that we had missed at Sundance, but we knew this film was going to be coming out anyway because it is late night.
Okay.
So late.
Hold on, Lisa.
What?
The listeners might actually appreciate if I turn your microphone on. I'm so sorry.
The one woman on the podcast gets 78% of the mic coverage.
Hey, there she is. There she is.
Talking about women power, I got to see Late Night, starring Emma Thompson. Dame Emma Thompson. Is she actually a dame? I'm just guessing. She feels like a dame.
She does feel like one, so we'll just say that she
We don't
is.
know what's going on in England.
I feel everybody should be a dame. Everybody wants to have a dame. That's different. Mindy Kaling and John Lithgow.
That's right. He is in this. He
Yeah.
plays the husband of Emma Thompson, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Small role.
Okay.
But memorable because he's absolutely wonderful. And I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was good. I liked it too. I feel like it could have been more clever. This is mean. It could have been more clever. It could have been a little bit funnier. As is perfectly serviceable story centered around Mindy Kaling invading this all-white writer's room of Emma Thompson's late-night talk show.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of like in the case of the Mindy Kaling character, kind of a rags to riches story. In the case of Emma Thompson, you know, her career is declining and she's going for that second wind. The beats are predictable, but I thought scene by scene, like the actual writing, the actual dialogue was really fun. I mean, I found myself really laughing at some of the lines. I found all of the performances really charming. That's really what carried the movie.
Yeah, I agree.
Emma Thompson is absolutely amazing. She plays Catherine Newbury, the one and only woman of Late Night, which is still a thing of fiction, I think.
Yes.
Yes.
Not that I really watch Late Night, but
On YouTube, I watch Fallon sometimes.
I'll watch certain clips depending, yeah.
I'll watch that guy from The Man Show. What's his?
Oh, Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah, I'll watch Jimmy Kimmel when he's making children cry. When it's the ones where parents are like, "Look what I wrapped! It's Christmas morning. It's a potato," and the kids burst into tears. I watch that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I like the
brutal.
one where the parents go like, "I ate all of your Halloween candy," and then they lose their shit. I'll watch that. Oh, and I'll watch the car karaoke. Who's the car karaoke guy?
Oh, James Gordon.
I'll watch
Yeah.
James Gordon car karaoke. But the Catherine Newbury character, she's become complacent in her work. She's no longer inspired, and she runs her show like nobody else matters. She just kind of is going through the motions when this was something that really inspired her and brought a lot of joy. And so the network has noticed like that she's been slacking.
Yeah.
And so they step in and they're like, either you got to right this ship or we're replacing you with someone who I feel is pretty obviously a Dane Cook ripoff.
Yeah.
Oh.
He
Okay.
like a real frat bro type comedian. It's played by Ike Barinholtz.
Yep.
Oh,
Who pops
really?
up
Yeah.
in things.
And he's funny.
I love him. He's great.
I love him in Blockers.
Dork. Yeah, I was just about to say he is awesome in that
Yeah,
movie.
so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
He's Dane Cook in this.
and he's Dane Cook in
Okay.
this. And
Hijinks happen.
hijinks happen.
Yeah, yeah. So like I said, it's not that great, Lisa.
It's not that great, but I thought that obviously Emma Thompson was wonderful. I thought the Mindy Kaling scenes were really wonderful. She plays Molly Patel,
Yeah.
who comes from, so she just kind of on, not really a whim, but she goes out on a limb to get a meeting with an executive, and it's at a time where they're like, well, we have an all-white men writer's room. You have to hire a woman. Like, you have to hire a woman. You have to hire a woman of color. And she happens to be the person who's in the right place, right time,
Yeah.
who has all of the passion in the world but no experience. And she makes herself inexpensible, and she eventually finds her voice. And they have this kind of fun relationship between those two characters as Mindy seeing someone as she's seen as her hero, messing up the thing that she loved about her.
And acting like a monster.
But she didn't see any incentive for not telling Catherine Newberry the truth. So when her entire scared writer's room, who's getting fired left and right, is like kowtowing and going, whatever you want, and the show has always been great and it'll continue to be great. Mindy Kaling comes in with her like little folder. She's like, this is what's wrong with the show. I've been watching some of your old programs and this is what we could bring. She came from like a human resources type job at her old. She worked at a chemical factory. And so she was like applying her chemical factory systems to this. I don't know. I think it was really fun. It was a good time at the movies. I'm not going to be talking about it on our fistful of top 5 movies of the year this far, and I won't be talking about it at the end of the year of the Dorkies. But I still think it's great to see a movie with a woman of a certain age in a main role, a woman of color. Written by Mindy Kaling, directed by a woman. I think it's a solid product.
In a summer that has like birthed Dark Phoenix and Men in Black International.
We have just been roller skating our way through some real trash fires. And this movie was fun.
Yeah. And I guess that's what I was going to ask as far as like, because I knew it was written by Mindy Kaling, if it does kind of tackle a lot of those themes about, equality in the workplace and stuff like that it seems like it's trying to tackle.
Yeah, she has to overcome a certain amount of tokenism.
Yeah.
When she was hired as a token, which makes it even harder.
Yeah.
But it doesn't do that in any kind of, I don't know. To Brad's point, it's a little bit.
It's pat.
It's a little bit pat. But I think that I think that her scenes are really funny, and I think that the dialogue is solid.
Yeah, it's good.
So this is kind of light. It does kind of touch on those things, but it's just more of a light movie.
I was really excited about the concept, when it just delivered a solid,
exactly what you expected.
Yeah, it's maybe I was a little disappointed.
It feels something like a Nora Ephron type of movie that I would see back in the day, like
Not as good. But I agree.
Cool. Anything else you had this past week, Lisa? Or
what else have I done this week, my love?
We did see Conan the Barbarian for the first time.
Oh yeah, I did.
Oh, we're not talking Momoa. We're talking the original, the OG. Okay, that was your first time.
It was my first time, and it was a Ashburn Film Club screening.
Okay.
And I really didn't know what to expect. I thought that I was going to be rolling into something that is like campy and it is dated, but it's dated in this most beautiful way. I was really surprised at the quality of this movie and the quality of Arnold Schwarzenegger's performance, considering how little, like he was literally plucked out of the weightlifting world and plopped into this film. I don't know. I found it visually just, I love the costumes. The sets are so tremendously elaborate. James Earl Jones. I
was going to ask about,
as like the snake god guy.
Thulsa Doom.
Like, to me, like, if you're able to magically turn corn snakes into arrows, then your religion is true. I'm in.
There you go. That's all you need.
James Earl Jones with his kind of indigo contact lenses and his
what was
flat hair.
Fascinating to me. I want to talk about this a little bit, Lisa.
Yeah, please.
Brian Loy, the film programmer at the Alamo Ashburn location, we love him to death. He puts on amazing performances. But when he introduced the movie to the crowd, he introduced it like it was Commando. And, we were about to watch something really 80s and ridiculous and absurd. And, oh my gosh, you got to listen to the Conan the Barbarian commentary track because Arnold Schwarzenegger is such a lummox and how goofy he is. But... And that kind of annoyed me because Conan the Barbarian is legit.
Yeah.
It's a John Milius film.
Yeah.
It's visual, like
It's incredibly earnest, right?
Okay.
And what I loved was that crowd kind of got hyped into watching something like Commando or what's another like silly Arnold Schwarzenegger movie.
Red Heat, maybe?
Yeah, like Red Heat, right?
Yeah.
And
so there was like some giggling at some stuff in the beginning of the film.
but then the film won that crowd over.
Exactly.
And I came away with a whole new appreciation for Conan the Barbarian.
That's cool.
If you want camp, go watch Red Sonja or Conan the Destroyer. But Conan the Barbarian, like I said, legit great movie.
I need to revisit that. So, what do you guys think about the idea of them, the rumors of them revisiting this franchise with King Conan with Arnold Schwarzenegger at the age that he is now? Because there's been rumor. I don't know if it's actually going to happen, but do you think that's something that can be pulled off?
I think it could be pulled off.
Okay.
And depending on who they get to direct the film and who they get to write the film. And I would like them to come in with the same sort of attitude that the first film did and not the, Red Sonja and Conan the Destroyer movies. And I think, Arnold Schwarzenegger today would make a great King Conan. We see him at the end of the first Conan the Barbarian as King Conan on his throne, and you are enticed by what are his adventures from that point forward. And if you are currently reading the Marvel comic book series written by Jason Aaron, I mean, it's filled with lots of great stories, and it does jump around in Conan's timeline. So we do get glimpses of what Conan's doing as the king.
Yeah.
I think you could do it, but I would want something pretty darn serious.
Yeah,
I don't
absolutely.
want, the MCU version of a Conan the Barbarian.
No.
I think that there is a tremendous gap in cultural understanding of Conan as a character, because I really didn't realize exactly what Conan meant. The idea that he came up from being a slave, being undereducated, but then seen for the value of his strength, and through his strength he gained literacy and cultural understanding and all of those things. Like, that's a tremendous message, but at the end of the day, even the average comic book fan doesn't know that much about Conan. Strong man, funny hair.
Yeah.
So to me, I think that it would be a hard film to sell. Like, think about like that John Carter from Mars movie.
Oh,
yeah. Let's not think about that.
I know. That's great. Excuse me. Well, thank you, Lisa, for
You're
your weekend
welcome.
dork.
I feel like I got a B- on that.
No. That's
Solid B, Lisa.
solid B.
Thank you. Fishing for mid-level comps.
So, what do we have, Brad? What do you have for our weekend dork? I think we kind of previewed it.
We previewed it. I mean, today I got done with the Psychorama sleepover. It's the first one that the Alamo Drafthouse in Winchester, Virginia has done. Faye, who runs Psycho Cinema there, she's
Volunteer basis.
Volunteer basis.
It is a work of passion.
True passion. And I mean, it's not work. I mean, she puts a lot of time and energy into this and love into it, and it really does show. So she's done Psychorama film festivals before. Every week she's at the theater with Psycho Cinema, where they show, a wide array of exploitation cinema. From Dead Alive to The Exorcist to Andy Sedaris films, which is what kicked off the sleepover.
And she's not afraid to go camp.
She's not afraid to go camp. She's not afraid to go super serious and terrifying and disturbing and despairing.
Yeah.
Now, those previous marathons she did under the banner of Psychorama were kind of just like weekend film club, Lost Weekend type situations, like sort of like what they also do with Genre Blast. And even though I really enjoyed them, apparently Faye was kind of disheartened by the last Psychorama. She didn't feel like it was particularly special, or that it separated itself enough from what Andy does with their Lost Weekends or what Nathan does with the Genre Blast.
Okay.
And she was gonna quit. She was gonna stop doing the Psychoramas because she just really was unfulfilled after the last marathon. And Steve Narangis, owner of the Alamo Drafthouse, said, "What about a sleepover?"
Okay.
And she's like, "Could we do that?" He's like, "Yeah."
He's the coolest.
Yeah.
He is the coolest.
like
And so
Steve.
they conceived this sleepover, which started Saturday night, the weekend of Toy Story 4 at 10 o'clock at night. And they, for $30, 7 films, right?
It's a
That
deal.
went from, that started at 10 a.m. or 10 p.m. Saturday and ended around noon today, Sunday.
Yeah.
And a wide range of films. So we watched Hard Ticket to Hawaii, a TNA trash film, just one of the worst films ever made, but kind of beautiful in its trashiness.
Okay.
From Andy Sedaris. If you don't own the Guns, Girls, and G-Strings box set like I do, I encourage you to do that. I think it's $7.99 at Barnes & Noble right now for all of those films. Went from Hard Ticket to Hawaii to Lucio Fulci's Italian sequel to Dawn of the Dead, Zombie, which is the exact opposite of Hard Ticket to Hawaii. It's a very grim and serious and upsetting, sad zombie film, which probably gets talked about most because there's a sequence in which a zombie fights a shark. And the way they filmed that was they put a guy in zombie makeup and they had him fight a shark. Like in the water, it's a tiger shark that they have doped up apparently. And this shark and this guy in zombie makeup wrestle.
That's not kind. To the
Italy
shark.
of the 70s, 1979.
Ugh.
And then there's also this famous sequence in which this poor woman has her head slowly pulled towards this large splinter. And over the course of 60 seconds, you watch that splinter enter into her unblinking eye and push into her back of her brain and then break off. I wish we were filming so you could all see Brian's face as I describe it.
Man, yeah.
And so I had seen this movie many times before. In high school, I had a big Italian horror phase.
Shocker.
Yeah, big shock there. So I knew when to nap, and I woke up for the zombie versus shark. I woke up for the eye, and I woke up for the climax, which is an amazing climax. But it was great to see that on the big screen. Gorgeous looking movie, new restoration. After that, guys, I saw a movie I'd never heard of before.
Okay.
And it's one of those films that once you see it, you go,
Can't unsee it.
well, not only can you not unsee it, but you're amazed that nobody has introduced this movie to you before.
Oh, okay.
It has a new Blu-ray from Vinegar Syndrome. It's called The Uninvited, which is a film that many films share that title. The
Yeah,
Uninvited.
it sounds very familiar.
So this is from the 80s. It co-stars George Kennedy from The Naked Gun and Earthquake, Clu Gulager from Return of the Living Dead and The Killers. They play a couple of henchmen. And the movie opens up and they're in a laboratory and there's a tabby cat. And they're experimenting on this tabby cat. And the scientists are like, oh, well, what's its radiation levels and blah, 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 blah. And suddenly the tabby cat, it squirms away and goes running away. They're like, get that cat. And then all these guys in hazmat suits go running after the cat and they corner the cat. And then the cat opens its mouth.
Like a flurkin?
Yes, like a flurkin. But what comes out of this cat's mouth? Not tentacles, another cat.
Oh.
A second cat.
Oh, goodness.
So there is a tabby cat. Its mouth opens up and a black cat comes out. And that black cat is mad as hell and starts tearing people's faces off.
Oh, man.
And it's a puppet within a puppet. So you see the mouth open up. The black cat comes out, kills a whole bunch of people. Then the black cat crawls back through the mouth of the tabby cat and goes about its way. It escapes and lands in the hands of 2 girls who are on a spring break vacation in Florida, who are now being Me Too'd by this Wall Street goon who is trying to get to the Cayman Islands so he can collect his millions. And he has George Kennedy and Clu Gulager with him to enforce his rule. And these girls go, well, we'll come onto your boat. I know you want to have sex with us, but we just met these other boys and we want these boys to join us. And they're like, well, okay, George Kennedy, let's all these teenagers come aboard our boat because that's a good cover. Yeah. And then the cat gets on the boat and the cat and the black cat that's within the tabby cat start killing everybody.
Wow, interesting.
And then they all turn on each other at some point because of the money and blah, 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 blah. It is madness.
It sounds like it's a fun movie.
Oh, it's a total blast.
Okay,
It's a total
okay,
blast.
all right.
And, I don't want to spoil anything, but what happens with the cat from the other cat, it's delightful and terrifying and icky and gross and wonderful. Darren and I loved this movie.
Nice.
After The Uninvited, we saw Sleepaway Camp, like at 4 o'clock in the morning on the big screen. Love Sleepaway Camp.
Yeah.
You remember Sleepaway Camp, Brian?
I think I do.
Angela, that expression at the end of the movie, it all turns green. She's got a secret. We saw it at Paul's house.
I remember Paul had it. I'm trying to remember that movie, but I do remember it kind of being a little disturbing.
It's very disturbing.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating film. Darren and I were talking about it. I think one of the things that really sets it apart from movies like Friday the 13th is that there's these 13-year-old characters and they're played by 13-year-old actors.
Oh,
and
okay.
These children shouldn't be doing or saying these things.
Yeah.
But here they are.
It was your first time on the big screen seeing
First
this?
time on the big screen. It looked great. Loved it. After that was another film I had never seen before called Psycho Beach Party, which was from the year 2000. Amy Adams is actually in the movie.
That sounds like a
role.
grindhouse film.
Yeah, it's one of those movies like Hobo with a Shotgun where
Yeah.
it's like nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
Okay.
It was pretty good. It's pretty good. Xander from Buffy the Vampire Slayer is in it.
Yes.
He's in it.
Good for him.
Greg from Dharma and Greg is in it, the sitcom.
Oh, God, what's that actor's name?
I have no idea, but he's a big kahuna character in this. I liked it a lot. I think it does a better job than most of those wannabe grindhouse films do, and it actually has a bit of an interesting message within it. I'd encourage people to watch it and pursue it beyond the first 10 minutes.
Okay.
Let it take you. And then after Psycho Beach Party was Devilfish, another Italian horror film about a giant devilfish, a monster shark with tentacles and a big mouth, and it was boring as hell.
Oh, wow.
And I fell straight to sleep. And I watched, I'd say, half of the movie. I caught the ending mostly. I could not recommend Devilfish. And then we closed out the night, or the day, with Tales from the Crypt Demon Night, which is one of our all-time favorite movies. And I had never seen that on the big screen, and it was amazing, as we all know it is. I'm a little sad that we aren't able to use that now as part of our Still Awesome series at the Alamo Drafthouse in Winchester. That
Demon Night?
Yeah, that we do. But Faye dedicated it to us in the Mouth of Darkness Dorks.
Aw.
Nice.
And she said it's the Still Awesome selection of Psychorama Sleepover. So thank you, Faye.
Cool.
So I think that she should change it for a Friday night to Saturday morning.
Why do you say that?
So you're not all tired on Sunday.
Yeah, I probably would like that also, because you get off work on Friday, you go right to the Alamo Drafthouse Winchester and party into Saturday. I think the reason they don't do that, though, is because it is Toy Story 4 weekend.
Probably.
But I hope they do it again. It seems like it was a big success.
You think this would be an annual or biannual type of thing?
I think it could be. I'm curious.
Or
to talk
maybe
to
even
Faye.
a quarterly thing. If it's only for like one overnight, you can do it maybe like once every 3 months or something like that.
And live?
I'd be down. I mean, I am crazy tired right now.
Yeah.
You know, I tried to pre-game it by staying up real late on
Really dumb
Thursday
idea.
and Friday.
Super stupid.
It was very stupid because I could stay up late, but for some reason I couldn't sleep in. So I kept going to bed at 3 a.m. and getting up at 9 a.m.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I can never sleep late.
You know,
I think it's like a chemical thing, like a melatonin. Not melatonin. Melatonin thing.
Yeah.
like when we were
melatonin.
teenagers, we could do that, but now we're old.
I haven't been able to sleep till noon since high
I know.
school.
God, I miss those days, kind of.
Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, Psychorama sleepover. If you're in the Northern Virginia, Maryland area, it's worth the drive.
Follow Alamo Winchester on Twitter because they have all kinds of cool events.
Yeah.
Their film club is super eclectic. That's run by Andy.
If you haven't given up on Facebook, find the Psycho Cinema page, find the Film Club page, and find the Draft House page and get all the events up to date. They're always showing something really cool.
And sometimes we're showing you something really cool with our It Mod Still Awesome series.
And we just showed Memento, and that was great.
Yeah.
Loved watching that again. And then at the end of July, we are showing William Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet.
One of my faves, Mercutio.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
You know that famous Shakespeare quote?
Mercutio. So that's my week in Dork, Brian.
Nothing else for you? That's about
I've
that
been,
took up.
I've been rambling a lot. I've watched a lot more than that.
Okay.
We watched that John Cusack movie.
Oh, Hot Pursuit. I've never seen that
so
before.
fun.
Okay.
It's
Look it up.
Okay.
straight garbage.
Oh, no, it's not. It's beautiful.
It's garbage like The Uninvited. You got to check it out.
Okay. Okay.
It starts off like this college comedy that then transforms into an episode of Magnum PI.
Way more Stillers than you expect, doing stuff
It's
unanticipated.
Ben Stiller's first
Unanticipatable.
movie.
Ooh, okay.
He can juggle.
Yeah.
And he can juggle.
Oh,
yeah.
literally juggle.
Yeah, he's literally juggling in it, but he is also juggling some other stuff
Ooh.
like
I'm scared to ask.
careers and
Machine guns and stuff.
Yeah.
Brian, how was your weekend dork?
My weekend dork was actually pretty good. It's been a while since I've been in the Dork Cave, but I'll focus on this past week. But I'll mention some of the other stuff that I've seen in the last couple of weeks real quick. Won't take up too much time, but I do want to focus on the film Anna that came out. A smaller film. Didn't realize that this was actually directed by Luc Besson.
Is it directed by Luc Besson?
Yes.
It's not just produced?
No, it was written and directed by Luc Besson. And knowing that, I definitely can see it definitely does feel like it comes from his type of filmography, his type of pedigree. The movie really kind of focuses on this young lady who kind of basically gets recruited to be a government assassin, and then she ultimately wants out to she joined to become an assassin to get her freedom. She was promised that she would be in the Russian I guess it was part of the Russian government to be an assassin for them for about 5 years, and then she would get out, and of course they lied to her, and so she kind of takes it upon herself to kind of do her own thing to see if she can kind of get her own freedom. So it feels like a movie that's kind of ripped out of the 90s. Again, looking at Luc Besson and his filmography. If you think of films like La Femme Nikita, even Leon, which is one of my favorites, and also recently with Lucy, it feels like he's kind of following that same type of formula of having the woman try to find her empowerment
through violence
through violence. So I mean I like certain aspects of that. I don't want to say really have issues, but I do kind of find it a little
tiring.
Yeah, because I'm just thinking about a lot of the stuff, and I know that we're in this new time of like the Me Too and the Time's Up movement. And I think I see him writing and directing this film about this character that's really trying to fight to get her own freedom, and I like the way the movie. I like what he's trying to do with that, but also that I find the fact that he's writing these type of characters as a man writing female characters because she does use her sexuality a lot in the movie as well. So I don't know, like sometimes a lot of that stuff kind of rubs me the wrong way, but with that being said, I think he does some interesting things with the narrative. Now, we just talked about Still Awesome with Memento. The way that he plays with time and the chronological order of how he tells the story, where it would start off and then it would fast forward 5 years, it would go back 5 years and then go back 6 months, and the way he would tell the story to reveal certain things about the character of Anna, and like where she came from and how much she knew and if she was undercover. So it's kind of revealing a lot of stuff to the audience in a very interesting way, the way they play with time and the way they play with the structure of the film. And I found that to be really, really fascinating, something different that I've never seen Luc Besson do before. It does kind of take its toll with the pacing of the movie, with that kind of structure that it does here and there. But overall, I thought some of the action, I mean, when we see Anna go into her first mission where she has to take out this crime boss.
That's what we see in the trailer?
In the trailer. Mm-hmm. I actually dug that a lot.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool. The way that whole thing was shot, the way it was choreographed, I thought it was pretty cool. We have some notable actors in there. Now, the lead who plays Anna, I'm not familiar with her. She's an actress named Sasha Luss, so I'm not familiar with her. But we do have Helen Mirren, Luke Evans, and Cillian Murphy are in this movie.
He's one of my faves.
Yeah. And there's a scene between it was one scene in the interrogation room between him and the lead Sasha Luss, and that's just so much blue eyes in one scene. I was like, goodness. I was like,
this is so genetically
like,
improbable.
This can't be real. Like these eyes are way too blue. but yeah.
We have seen Sasha Luss in a film. We have. It was one of our Comic-Con. Was it our Comic-Con film last year or 2 years ago?
2 years ago.
Valerian in the City of a Thousand Planets. She plays this lady, also with blue eyes, the alien princess.
Okay.
That lady.
And that was a Luc Besson film.
It was.
So he must have grown attached.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just wondering what they're gonna be able to put in the Black Widow movie now that Red Sparrow's come out and now Anna's come out.
And I got the same feeling from this movie. Watching this movie, and I haven't seen Red Sparrow.
It's not good.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard some interesting things about the film, but I've heard I've heard people who really like it and some people who just
There's
really turned
elements
off.
of it that are interesting, but it's a failure overall.
Yeah. And this movie feels like it's kind of in that it's going through a lot of those same beasts that movie was going through, and kind of like that story of Black Widow. So I am intrigued to find out more about what this Black Widow movie is going to be about, if it really is a prequel or if it's a continuation of some sorts of her character post Endgame, which I'll be curious to see how they can pull something like that off.
Soul World.
I know, yeah, possibly. But I dug it. I liked Anna. I do have a couple of issues, just with just Luc Besson and just the type of movies that he's continuing to make. It seems like he kind of maybe have some good intentions with doing this, but
it could just be a fetish.
Or it could just be a fetish. Yeah, and it seems like it is.
I would bet on fetish.
Yeah, but I'm a fan. I mean, I like Leon. I like Fifth Element. So I like his stuff early in his career, but stuff in this new post 2000 and stuff that he's done.
Valerian,
yeah,
it was pretty.
Lucy,
yeah,
I know it's.
But this is better than both Valerian and Lucy.
Well, yeah. I mean, Valerian, I'm just not a big fan of. I've heard some people really defend Valerian, and more power to them. I mean,
Darren really liked it.
Yeah, I mean, and visually, I could definitely see how people can defend that film. I mean, it's doing some interesting things, especially within the sci-fi genre. Lucy. It has good ideas.
There's moments.
Yeah, but I enjoyed this just on the pure entertainment level, and as an action film, I really, really kind of dug Anna.
In the vein of like seemingly women empowerment roles that just kind of fell short into some cliches, was the Tessa Thompson character in Men in Black International. That was another one where the first thing she had to do as a Men in Black, like the first time she's out in the field, she's being used as bait. And they comment on it, but it doesn't make her not be doing that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I hate when it's just like, oh, we know we're being problematic and we're going to comment on it.
That makes it okay.
No, it doesn't.
No. You're
and then the fact that like there's like this will they, won't they thing between her and Chris. Like, can't they just be colleagues?
Lisa, I don't have the energy to talk about Men in Black right
I'm
now.
so sorry. He's so sleepy.
It's not a good film.
Brad's been drinking coffee all day to like stay awake, but I just have been drinking coffee because he's been making coffee. So I'm really excited to be here, guys.
So that's
I didn't mean to cut you off like that, Lisa. I'm just saying Men in Black doesn't deserve any of our conversation.
That's a real
that movie
piece of garbage.
It really is.
Worse than Dark Phoenix.
Yeah.
I would agree. I
can't believe I'm saying that.
I know. And Dark Phoenix was not something to... No. But yeah, so Anna, I did see a couple of weeks ago, I didn't get a chance to talk about it, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles versus Batman, Batman versus Teenage Mutant... Either way, but the versus movie. I dug that film.
Yay.
I really, really like that movie. I don't watch a lot of DC animated movies a lot, But of course, this is Turtle, so I had to check it out. I picked it up on Blu-ray. I really dug it, and it's really dark and really violent, but it captures the essence of the characters on both sides, for Batman and his rogues gallery and for the Turtles. It's a lot of fun. So anybody who's a fan of Batman or TMNT, definitely check that one out.
Lisa and I have had a bunch of problems with our Wi-Fi, so I've been trying to watch that film many times, and I can't get it to stream. It's so frustrating.
Yeah.
Our Netflix is streaming and our YouTube is streaming, but for some reason Prime is being a real
it's saying
problem.
It keeps saying that we're having bandwidth problems, but I'm like, the bandwidth's fine.
I just feel like you're judging us, Prime.
yeah. Oh well.
We can't get any better bandwidth in our building.
I'll watch it. I'll watch it soon.
Yeah. So that's pretty much my weekend, Dork. So when we get back from the break, we are going to break down and give you guys our thoughts of, it's kind of been teased. We talked about Toy Story 4. We're going to give you our review, our spoiler review. So you have been warned for Toy Story 4. So stay tuned after the break, and we will be right back.
Hey, this is Liz from People I Think Are Cool, a bi-weekly podcast where I interview my favorite creatives from across the globe. If you're looking for a dose of creative inspiration, then go to peopleithinkarecool.com or subscribe to People I Think Are Cool on iTunes and Stitcher.
You like film, from cult to classic, from blockbuster to B-movies. And there just isn't that one place with all the fan fervor and passion that's covering the kind of mad, diverse brilliance that you love.
Well, that's where you're wrong.
AfterMovieDiner.com is that fan-built movie nirvana just for you, featuring the sweet, sweet writings of the wife dork herself. AfterMovieDiner.com. Go there. Be the best you can be.
And we're back. So we have the newest installment in the Toy Story franchise, the newest film from Pixar. It is Toy Story 4. So yeah, we're going to get into our regular spoiler review. Remember, guys, this is a spoiler review. You have been warned. I guess the biggest thing with this movie going into this, I guess the question surrounding this movie was, why?
Right.
But I can't speak for you guys, but for myself, I think the movie really answers that question in a positive way.
Agreed. Spoilers. This movie's great.
We enjoyed it a lot.
We enjoyed it a lot. So before we kind of get into the review, what's your history with Toy Story, or even just kind of leading up to Toy Story 4? Like, what was your thoughts at the end of 3? Did you feel like it was a good wrap-up?
To me, I was like, they have literally faced death.
Yeah.
That scene in the furnace in Toy Story 3 is such a profound scene that everyone, like, the idea of going, like, one day we're all going to have to face death, and it's just best to be okay with it because it's going to happen to all of us. And I'm like, that in a kid's movie,
I know,
is literally the most Pixar thing ever. But also, like, just I think, the idea of a family taking that home and really discussing that, I think is a beautiful thing. So when they were going like Toy Story 4, I was definitely on the boat of why.
Yeah.
And not only do they face death in Toy Story 4, they leave Andy's bedroom and go to Bonnie's. Andy grows up and gives away his toys because he's a terrible child and would not, terrible representation of Brad. You keep your babies.
Yeah.
You keep them.
But as the toys, they need to be played with. Do you still play with your toys?
He does.
Yeah.
Okay. So they're not neglected.
No, I mean, some are mint in box, like this Walmart exclusive Black Panther behind me.
So if that Usagi Yojimbo was alive, he would feel love from you.
I think Brad does.
Yes.
I think Brad does gaze lovingly upon his kingdom.
Yes.
Where to me, like,
them
a lot of the toys become kind of like white noise to me because we're just so surrounded. But I will watch Brad just staring off into the middle distance. I'm like, what are you thinking about? And he's like, oh, just that Captain Kirk over there.
Nice. Nice.
I think
accurate.
I think that they feel the warmth of
They
his
feel.
love.
Yeah, thank you, Lisa. Thank you.
But the toys going to Bonnie, you get, okay, well, it's the circle of life.
Well,
they
it
will
does
now be
feel
loved.
like a definite conclusion, and you leave that movie and you hear that 4 is coming, and you try to contemplate, well, what is the next stage for these characters? What's the next stage for Woody? I could not imagine what it is, and this film answers that.
It really does. So let's get into the review. So Lisa, we'll go ahead and start with you. So we're gonna go do round robin. If any of our listeners aren't familiar with our style of our review, so we're gonna do good, bad, and the ugly. So Lisa, what are some of the good points that you wanted to point out for Toy Story 4?
I'm going to steal one right out from under Brad.
That's fine.
I think the character of Forky is pure comedy gold.
Great.
That scene where he does that quick inhale into life and he looks upon the beauty that is sentience and he is terrified. And all of the scenes of Woody trying to keep him from throwing himself into the trash is just so funny.
I'm trash. You call that humorous? I call that depressing as hell.
Yeah.
But I think that they were able to turn that idea around by saying, like, to Forky, that was his destiny. His destiny was to be used
trash.
and to be disposed of.
We're all trash guys.
And so when he was fulfilling his destiny, he felt this sense of safety and warmth and comfort. But sometimes our destiny takes us places
that we don't expect,
where we're not going to be comfortable.
Exactly.
And he finds this new existence trying to create happiness for Bonnie, and that really gives him purpose in life. And that's really what this movie is all about.
Exactly.
Like what is your purpose? What is your purpose in every stage of your life?
Well, and it also kind of uniquely tackles privilege. Right?
Okay.
Woody is this privileged toy who had this wonderful life with Andy where he was loved. And yes, it reached an ending where Andy became an adult and gave Woody to Bonnie. And when he went to Bonnie's bedroom, he was not the favorite toy.
He wasn't the top dog anymore.
He could be demoted within an instant. He could have his shield, his sheriff's badge ripped from his chest and given to Jesse. And he suddenly goes, oh, what I had is gone.
Yeah. And he's trying to hold on to that.
Right. And that's where Lisa her comment comes in. He's like, well, he's had this privileged life. It's been ripped from him. What do you do?
What do you do?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Toy Story 4, great double feature with Jordan Peele's Us.
Interesting. Okay.
But you do get that sense of, like, there are lots of ways to be a toy. Like, there are the toys that are in the antique shop that are not being appreciated and loved. There are those toys that are prizes. And
Woody comes face to face with his nightmare, the lost toy, the unloved toy.
Yeah.
And that's what Gabby Gabby is. And that's what Bo Peep is. But Bo Peep goes, what of it?
Yeah,
Exactly.
she's a maker of her own destiny. I love that upgrade of the Bo Peep character because when we met her, she was pretty much just, you know, something for girls to look and go, oh, that's pretty.
And a joke about Woody maybe having a crush on Bo Peep, you know.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
And so the fact that they could bring her back in this fourth movie and make her this total adventurous badass, and now she's wearing her little skirt as a cape.
Yeah.
And she's, you know, going around in her utility vehicle. Though I think that's a little fucked up considering, like, that skunk was clearly a
toy.
disemboweled toy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, did it have sentience at one point?
Yeah, surely it did. And why doesn't it have sentience anymore? Because it's got a RC car shoved up his butt. And how come the RC car doesn't have sentience? It's all very strange.
Interesting.
I should have put that as my ugly. Ugh, it's going to be hard for me to think of an ugly, you guys.
Yeah.
Unless it's the ugly cry I've made in every Toy Story film.
I know. Anything else that you liked about this movie?
So much, but I'll probably interrupt Brad about it.
Yeah, because I love interrupting Lisa.
Brad, what you have?
I mean, I think it is that my big takeaway is that confrontation that Woody has with his great fear, and coming to the realization that you know, he had the good life, and now it's time for him to give the good life to others, to find the lost toys of this world and bring love to them. and in doing so, also bringing love to children.
Yeah.
What do you think that the parallel is for us as human beings? Like, when is it time where we look at our Bonnie and go like, well, it's time to leave Bonnie to like?
I mean, I think it is just a general passage from adulthood or childhood to adulthood, right?
Adulthood.
Like, I mean, it's certainly not the case for every kid, right? But you would like to think that you've experienced love in your life, and the world I would like is a compassionate world where you give what you want.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what the Toy Story 4 is this giant metaphor for that.
Right. And so Woody deciding, okay, I'm now going to become a lost toy. To me, is that like, to me, I'm like, is he retiring? Is he now going into his
It's a new stage. It's what I said. It's what I said, Lisa.
Shit.
It's the idea of I was this thing. I thought this thing was the ultimate joy.
Mm-hmm.
And in actuality, it's me helping others experience what I had.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think like what I take away from it is like, and I mean, we will still get to some of your good, but just speaking on this point here is going to your point where I think the movie really is about purpose or how we repurpose our life. Because when you look at Woody, I mean, I'm looking at my own current situation that, you know, like I'm starting a new stage of my life. And I feel like that Woody is in that same type of predicament where, you know, he's been comfortable being a toy with Andy. And now that his life has changed with Bonnie, it's like you're getting into that next stage of your life where it's like, okay, maybe being a lost toy is not necessarily a bad thing.
Well, evolution is essential. You
exactly.
can't just be the thing you've always been.
Exactly. And this is a new stage for him to explore something new. And I think Bo Peep is a conduit for him to kind of go in and explore these new ideas that's going to open him up. And also speaking to Forky, also like him also feeling like he's trash and them trying to tell him that, look, you're a toy. He's like, no, I'm not a toy. It's almost like that idea of feeling like he doesn't feel like has the value to be loved, or that
he's never experienced it.
He's never experienced it.
There's no context for it, yeah.
Yeah, to see himself that way, to know that he only sees himself as trash, but that you can be more than just trash.
And so what happens at the end of this film in the post-credit sequence, right, is that Bonnie goes to first grade and she makes Knifey, right? And now, because Forky has had a life of understanding that he is more than just trash, he can now help Knifey realize her existence.
Exactly.
He can be her Woody.
Yeah,
absolutely.
He doesn't have the answers, though.
Yeah.
What am I? I don't know.
So what other good points did you take away from this?
I think before I pass it off to you, I'd just say general voice work. You know, the reintroduction of Annie Potts as Bo Peep is she's fantastic in it, right?
Yeah.
Christina Hendricks as Gabby is really great. Key and Peele.
Yes.
You know, Plush Rush, you know, Bunny and Ducky.
Yeah.
Damn, they are funny.
They were really funny.
Also really scary at the end of the post-credit sequence when he goes full Godzilla. That's actually nightmarish.
It was.
And then, of course, Keanu Reeves as Duke Kaboom.
Great.
So fun.
Awesome. Oh, man. Ray Jean. Good stuff. Yeah, I mean, I just kind of reiterate a lot of the points that you made. From a visual standpoint, I do want to talk a little bit about the opening scene where they rescue RC. I think that's the character's name, the car from the first film, and I think he was in the second film as well. But when you get that moment when Bo Peep is being taken away in the box and is leaving, and then Woody is trying to rescue her.
Right.
That whole sequence, I mean, just thematically what that is saying and how it's really kind of reintroducing these characters and really kind of setting up the plot of the film. visually, it almost looked photorealistic. I think this is probably some of the best animation that Pixar has ever done.
Have you ever looked back at the first Toy Story?
Well, I just revisited Toy Story 1.
So freaky how bad it is.
Yeah.
It makes my tummy hurt.
Yeah.
I'm like, how did we look at that with our eyes?
Yeah.
Here's the thing, Brian. You asked at the start of the show, like, what's our relationship with the Toy Story movies? And for me, like, I like the first movie. And that movie I probably have the best memory of, the first film, just from a narrative standpoint.
Yeah.
The second film I remember really liking, but I don't really remember much about it.
Yeah.
The third film, Lotso the Bear, I remember that. I remember the furnace, and I remember the passing of the toys from Andy to Bonnie, but not really much, and I have not revisited 3.
Okay.
4, I love. And like 4, I want on my Blu-ray shelf. 4, I will revisit. 4 really speaks to me right now in my life, as you were saying.
It does. It really does. And I connect with all of these different characters. And a lot of people said that this is Woody's story. I agree. It is Woody's story. But to me, it feels like the whole franchise is kind of Woody's story.
I think when you step back, it's Woody's the star. Sorry, Tim Allen and Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah.
You were the invading force in the first film.
Exactly. He's second fiddle. But I do love their relationship in this movie, and especially since we're talking about some of the good points and spoilers. The inner, when he talks about his inner voice and all of those bits with Buzz Lightyear and the inner voice, and how that leads into that payoff moment at the end, when Buzz is telling him, it's like, look, she'll be like, Bonnie will be okay, and he's like, you have to listen to your inner voice, and that was the moment that broke me.
Yeah.
That was just like, with him telling him that we'll be okay. It's okay if you leave, because you have to listen to your inner voice. And I just thought that was a beautiful moment between Buzz and Woody, who we followed through these 4 films.
Yeah. And I think what's cool about Toy Story 4 is it doesn't end on a judgment of the other characters who decide not to join Woody.
Oh yeah.
Everybody has a place and has a different dream that they are chasing, and I think that's all for the most part addressed with Buzz, at least. I don't think we could have like those side stories for Jessie and
Yeah.
Well,
Slinky
she's
and things
sheriff
like that.
now.
She's the
She
sheriff.
is sheriff now. Yeah.
And she can be sheriff guilt free. She doesn't have to hand that star back.
Yeah. So I love all those moments. And speaking to Gabby, so when we get introduced to this film, Gabby is kind of introduced as the villain of the movie, but as
with those henchmen, those ventriloquist dummy henchmen.
Yeah, but it's so crazy that like outside of Lotso from Toy Story 3 and Sid and all these other characters and the Prospector in Toy Story 2, like the movie allows you to sympathize with Gabby, and it really kind of changes her character once we get into the third act of the film. Yeah, she's trying to get the voice box away from Woody because she's been this lost toy that is looking for love herself. And then when she kind of gets thrown back and Woody sees that, then we as an audience, including Woody, start to sympathize with Gabby, and she doesn't become that typical villain like Lotso and these other characters that we've seen in the previous film. So I like how they kind of subvert that a little bit.
And she's also the source of his revelation.
Yeah.
It was her speech to him going like, can you imagine being a toy, being built to bring joy to others and not being called upon to do it? Can you imagine that?
He gives her his voice box. Yeah. She gets the voice box. She finally gets to meet Harmony, the granddaughter of the shop owner, the antique shop owner.
Yeah.
And she's rejected because kids today, they don't want to deal with some old 50s doll.
Yeah.
And then in going to the arms of the lost child at the fair and Woody witnessing Gabby find joy for herself and joy for that child in that new bond, he goes, I know what I got to do with my life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So awesome.
So good. So good. Last thing, well, I guess another point I want to make is just the comedy. Going back, I've never laughed out loud in a Toy Story film. There's funny moments throughout Toy Story, the first 3 movies, but man, like those moments with Key and Peele where they're saying like how they're going to try to get the key and like going through like their plans, and then Buzz is like, no.
That third one, which is like incredibly long, and they're waiting till she gets back home. And
it's just hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious. So there's some, and then like Keanu Reeves and Duke Kaboom and the whole thing with Rajon, and like the fact that, and I've seen those like Evel Knievel toys that you think they can jump and they can't do any of that stuff. And I just thought that whole thing was just
that setup,
So
which is great, and how it plays into his character and his own character arc, and how that has always affected him, his relationship with Rajon. It's just great stuff. The comedy I thought was gold.
Did you stay to the very end?
I didn't.
The end credits. So I'm gonna spoil something that you missed.
Okay.
So remember in earlier in the film we meet the playground with all the lost discarded toys that kids play with every afternoon, but then they leave there in the sandbox.
Yeah.
And we meet Carl Weathers as Combat Carl, the 3 Combat Carls.
Okay.
And there's that Snow Patrol Combat Carl that's always getting a high five or not getting a high five.
Yeah,
left hanging.
That was
and
hilarious.
Like left hanging and brutal, right?
Yeah.
End of the credits.
Uh-oh.
Pixar logo comes up. And you know how Luxo Jr. comes in, he jumps on the eye, the little bouncing lamp?
Yeah.
Instead of Luxo Jr. is Duke Kaboom. And he comes scooching in, jumps onto the eye with his bike, knocks the eye down, does a bunch of poses. Then Snow Patrol Combat Carl comes out with his arm up, and then Duke Kaboom and Combat Carl high five.
There was literally 3 people in the theater. It was me, Brad, and one other dude way in the back.
When that high five happened, I applauded.
Yes.
Oh my God, that is awesome.
It's so
Brilliant.
awesome.
I gotta see it again.
You do.
You do.
You do.
I love the scene. I love the parents, Bonnie's parents.
Yeah.
When the trailer is like going nuts.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and the toy that kept on wanting to send the dad to prison.
Yeah, the unicorn.
Yeah.
Such a funny.
He's going to jail.
Great stuff. Great stuff. So, I mean, I love how Toy Story always asks these very philosophical and existential questions just about our purpose, about life, and just how they wrap it in these kids' stories that, I mean, it's great messages for kids, but also can affect us as adults as well.
I agree with you, but I feel like this one connects to Brad Gullickson in a way that the other 3 never have.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like Toy Story 4 is truly special. And I gave it 3.5 stars when I left the theater.
I saw.
But since I've seen this movie, I've been thinking about this movie a lot. I think it is right now. Well, we'll have to tune in Friday and see if it ends up in my top 5 or not. But it's in the running sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Agreed.
So that's the good.
Yeah, that's the good. So let's get into the bad, if we have any bad or things that were critical about the film. Lisa.
If I was being nitpicky, I guess like some of the things
That skunk thing? You're upset about the skunk?
Animal cruelty has been on my mind a lot, and I feel like that skunk, that was very unfair.
That wasn't an actual skunk, Lisa. It was like a skunk toy.
I know, but like in this universe,
it is a real thing.
It is sentient because it's a toy, and so it is a real thing. But I feel like some of the stunts the toys are pulling, like people are totally gonna see that.
Oh, you mean like
like when they're like vaulting from like nobody's looking up, like not one person.
Yeah.
And there's a lot more gags where they are talking and the grown-ups can hear it.
Yeah, they're like they do that Triceratops that it pretends to be the GPS.
Pretend to be the GPS.
That bothers you? You don't like that?
I feel like that's not in the spirit.
Got you. Okay. Yeah.
Interesting.
What about you? Do you have any bad?
I mean, it doesn't hurt the film in a big way. I'm maybe a little disappointed, or at the very least, the stuff that I find the least compelling is the Buzz Lightyear stuff, the other toys, trying to bring them into the narrative when Woody's not around. Like, I was always just waiting to get back to Woody's story or Forky's story. I'm sorry, Tim Allen. You know, it's not, you don't have a lot to do. I appreciate that that Buzz allows for his final transition, and he's there to be a voice of encouragement. I think it's essential that Buzz is that character. But that's the stuff that I was,
I agree. It's probably the other toys and Buzz Lightyear, even though he does have some great bits, especially just with the inner voice stuff and the stuff like that. Key and Peele I liked. I think some of their bits kind of were a little grating.
I think it took a long time to get going.
Yeah, so that was just one thing. Like, if I was really nitpicking, that I was like, I mean, granted, we want to see the animated version of Key and Peele, and we kind of got that, but to a degree, outside of like the visual comedic bits, like with the thing as far as trying to get the key and some of the bits at the end.
Yeah.
Like some of their interactions and stuff like that.
Especially when they're introduced in the booth where Buzz is like tied up there, and it didn't quite work.
Yeah, it didn't really hit the way that I wanted it to. But outside of that, I think everything else is kind of...
I love the fact that they are two toys with their hands sewn together, too. Because
cool.
as a kid, I hated that.
I know,
I was just like, the first thing you fucking do is get the scissors and detach
snip.
And the fact that they remained attached at the hand the whole movie, I loved.
Absolutely. So, any ugly? It's hard for me to think of any ugly in this movie.
I have one more bad.
Oh, what you got? What you got?
No Pixar short.
Yeah.
I kind of knew going in because
So
they
did I,
said
but-
that they probably wouldn't have a short
I look forward to those
I do
Pixar
too.
shorts,
I
Brian.
do too.
They harken back to like a different time in the theater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it. Okay, ugly.
So ugly, Lisa. Anything for your ugly?
No, I don't.
I got
don't
your
have,
ugly.
You
Yeah,
got
did.
my ugly?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Uh-oh.
The cat.
Oh.
Yeah.
Giggles.
It eats the little Polly Pocket.
Yeah.
And I would have rather just the Polly Pocket just stayed dead. Like, bye, Polly. You were a dangerously small toy anyway.
Yeah.
I had
when
Polly Pockets.
When I saw that, I thought about you. I was like, did Brad see this first? Oh,
Sure did not. We
It's funny
experienced that
because,
together.
like, I've been so good about going on Kids in Mind to find emetophobia triggering scenes, and I didn't even think about it with. But like, it didn't. I mean, I closed my eyes. It was gross, but I mean, I closed my eyes, so that was really not a problem.
Yeah.
The dummies. They're really ugly and scary. I like the way that their heads like lolled about.
Okay, Lisa, you had your one ugly. You don't need to...
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to contribute to this conversation. You can turn my mic back off if you want.
No.
I just don't have any other uglies.
Oh, was that
I
yours?
was going to go with the dummies.
No, talk about
They're
it.
terrifying.
Yeah.
They're terrifying. They're uncomfortable to look at. And that one shot when they're walking by and he turns and I think they say like, say goodbye to so-and-so or whatever. And he just like, his head tilts back and it's like
Such a great
Jigsaw or something.
Yeah.
Really upsetting.
Yeah. I mean, for me, no uglies. I mean, ugly is always hard for me to come up with. So I would just piggyback on you two's uglies. Yeah.
I think that Pixar really stumbled across something really special with toys coming to life. And it's not like they're the originators of it, but creating, I don't know.
And finding metaphor. But what the Toy Story films do so well, and especially in this one, is finding all the mythology that we all don't even realize we understand about what it means to have toys. So like the lost toy concept, or going to the playground and seeing these combat Carls that are just in the dirt, that are just garbage toys, but they're in the dirt. Like that's what the kids have there, so they get played with there. So just like how Toy Story takes all the things that we have experienced in the world of toys in general and uses them for metaphor.
Exactly. And just how nostalgic it feels for us, because just the idea of making a toy like Forky, I remember being a kid and how much Bonnie is always is connected to Forky. It's like I've lost him. I was like, we can't leave without him. I remember I made toys out of aluminum foil.
Yeah, same.
And I named them and I kept them for so long.
Do you remember any of their names?
No, I don't. I don't. But I remember like making like these aluminum foil like type of toys. And so
were they names like Ed and Bill, or is it like Sparkles and Mr. Forkface or whatever?
Probably something to the latter. Yeah. I would probably do something.
It's probably like this is my tinfoil shredder. This is like tinfoil bebop.
Yeah, but it's so funny how they can tap into that nostalgia of the things that we are familiar with as kids.
Did you ever think about as a kid when hurting toys' feelings? That was something I was super cognizant of.
Okay.
And I remember there would be times where I would take all of my plushies and put them all in my bed and sleep with all of them so nobody'd get their feelings hurt and stuff like that.
Nope, did not do
No?
that. No, no.
Man.
I would chop up my G.I. Joes
No.
and bake them into cupcakes of hot glue.
Oh
My
would-
mom would get so mad because I would get like a cupcake tin and I'd put all the G.I. Joe body parts inside a cupcake tin. And then I'd take my mom's hot glue gun from her ornament table and I would just fill the cupcake tin up with like a whole stick of glue and body parts.
You're like the scary kid from the original.
Yep.
You're like,
Sid.
I'm like Sid.
Oh my goodness, Brad.
Yeah. What was great about G.I. Joes is they had that rubber band inside and you could push the rubber band out after you've snapped them in half and it'd be like their guts.
Oh. But you don't treat your toys like that now.
No. Now I sometimes dust them.
There you go.
Sorry, Planet Hulk.
So before we end the review, let's rankings. What do you guys think? Maybe I'm thinking 4 is maybe your best.
Yeah, I think 4 is the best. 1 is the second best because that's what I remember, and I don't really remember much about 2 or 3. So
yeah.
I would go 4, 3, 1, 2.
Okay, yeah, 4 is definitely my favorite.
You just rewatched them.
Well, the funny thing about it, I don't even remember seeing Toy Story 2. So to me, it felt like the first time watching it, I didn't know anything about the Prospector or how Jesse got introduced into the fold with Bullseye.
I resented Jesse from the beginning. I was like,
Really? Yeah, so that was like I'm guessing that I'm gonna say that's my first time seeing Toy Story 2. I really dug it. I mean, I think Toy Story 2 is dealing with some of the same themes that Toy Story 4 is kind of dealing with, as far as like it almost feeling like Toy Story 2 is like a rescue mission, and this one kind of feels that way, but more focused on.
I think I need to go back and rewatch them like you did.
Yeah, but I would say 4, 3, 1, 2.
correct. See,
Yeah.
Brad, you're wrong.
I mean, I don't really remember them. I need to revisit them.
Yeah. But so yeah, those are our final thoughts. Anything else you guys want to talk about before we close out the review? No.
I
yeah.
used to take the erasers in my desk and I would draw little dog faces on them and I would make them little dog beds out of paper and stuff.
I guess the final thing I'd say about the joy of Toy Story 4 is one, we're coming off of a summer that's besides like Avengers Endgame, has delivered very little joy for Brad Gullickson.
Okay. All right.
And 2, you look at what they did in Incredibles 2. There was like so much anticipation with Incredibles 2 and what Brad Bird was going to bring. And that movie was fine. It was,
With a capital F.
yeah, more of the same.
Fine.
I enjoyed it a little more, but I
you
get
liked
what
it
you're
more than
saying.
I did. But I mean, I liked it,
Yeah.
but it was, okay, cool.
Yeah.
This felt like they were still contributing to their characters, that they still had something to say miraculously.
So Toy Story 5, do we want it?
Ooh, no, I think this. I mean, we said 3 was a good wrap up, but I really feel like this is.
Should we just carry on without Woody?
I mean, it depends. Like, if they can find something new to say with these characters in this world, I'm all for it. I have a lot more confidence going into 5, having now experienced 4, than I did going into 4 after 3.
Yeah, well, I know Josh Cooley, who directed the film, said that with Disney Plus coming, that they have a series of shorts that they're going to have on Disney Plus featuring Forky. So
Cute.
Disney Plus is sounding more and more exciting when I hear a lot more about some of these projects.
I mean,
They're good at making things.
They are. They really are. So that's our review of Toy Story 4. Go check it out if you haven't seen the movie. But looking at the box office, I would say our audience have probably seen the movie, or at least I would hope that they have. Let's do a little promotion. So CBCC, Comic Book Couples Counseling. What do you guys have this week?
We literally just finished up our series on Aquaman using the book Love Sense by Dr. Sue Johnson.
So we have like 4 episodes devoted to that. The current episode is going to drop probably the same day that this episode drops. So after you're listening to In the Mouth of Darkness, listen to CBCC episode 24. Yes. It's on Sea of Storms, the new 52 arc of Aquaman.
And coming up, we're going to do some San Diego Comic-Con specials featuring some of our favorite dorks.
Yes. Some guest appearances.
Yes. And we're all going to Comic-Con. What?
So cool. And then we'll also have a special for our 10-year anniversary, recapping our trip to Bangor and talking Creep Show.
In the Mouth of Darkness has been around for 10 years, Lisa?
I mean, yours and my 10-year anniversary.
We've been married for 10 years, Lisa?
Congratulations, guys.
That's crazy.
Congratulations.
If you want to send us gifts, we have broken all of the glasses now at this point that we registered for. We broke the last one yesterday.
Brad Gullickson's Amazon wish list is public, guys.
Yes. So then we'll be doing Spider-Man and Mary Jane.
Oh, so look forward to that. And where can people find you guys at CBCC?
Yep. That's it. At CBCC Podcast on Twitter and Instagram. And you can listen to us on Podbean and Spotify and iTunes.
And look out for the new episodes coming. And we also have ItMod Chatcast.
Yeah.
So what is going on new with the Chatcast?
Lots of cool stuff. Billy and I went down to New Orleans for the Overlook Film Festival. We had a bunch of conversations. We recently had Mick Garris, the director of Nightmare Cinema, on. He also directed Critters 2. He wrote Hocus Pocus. He directed the Stand miniseries. And we've got Grady Hendrix of Paperbacks from Hell coming up this week on Wednesday. That episode's dropping. We also have an episode with Adam Egypt Mortimer. We have an episode on the producers of Horror Noir, which you can watch on Shudder right now. You should do that.
Okay.
We got a lot of stuff. We got like a month and a half worth of content on ItMod Chatcasts. And you can find that also on Podbean and iTunes.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I see a lot of your feeds through Facebook. So you guys have been busy.
Yeah.
There.
And actually, tomorrow we're going to be talking to Riley Stearns, the director of Faults and the Art of Self-Defense, the new Jesse Eisenberg movie.
Yes. I saw the trailer for that recently.
It looks good.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it yet, but I will soon. And that he'll be probably that conversation, as long as it happens tomorrow, will be dropping sometime in July.
Okay. Cool. So, Lisa, where can the good? Well, I'll say that I'm still getting used to this hosting thing.
Yeah,
so,
but do you have any plugs? Have you been doing any trailer reactions?
Oh, good. You know what?
Or we can scrape through the archives.
It's been kind of light the last couple of weeks, but I am trying to put together a review for When They See Us, the Ava DuVernay.
Dude,
Nice.
we haven't talked. Oh, you talked about it.
I talked about
Darren.
it. Yeah, that was the episode. I didn't know if you guys have seen it.
I watched it.
Okay.
It's the best thing out there right now. Ava DuVernay, it's her best film easily. Like you said on the episode, it's 5 hours, but it does feel like a movie.
Yes, it really is. So I might cheat a little bit, but I might have that on my fistful, maybe.
I won't argue you. I can't break my rules just yet.
I know.
But
I know.
I came close to
It's too good for me not to recognize it.
Yeah.
But I want to do a review on that. So look forward to the ItMod YouTube channel for some more trailer reactions and some reviews and some other stuff that I'm trying to put together. So yeah, that's pretty much it. But it's been kind of light the last couple weeks.
Weird summer.
Yeah, it has been. It really has been. So yeah, this year has been kind of weird.
But where can we find you on Twitter and Instagram and stuff?
You guys can find me at The Turtle Dork on Twitter, at The Turtle Dork 1 on Instagram, and Brian William Young on Facebook. I have to literally think about that. Lisa Gullickson, you can find her at Sidewalk Siren and at Baked Dork as well on Instagram and Twitter. I'm doing this all top of the dome.
Yeah, I'm really proud of you. Keep going.
Thank you. And you can also find Brad Gullickson at Mouth Dork on all social medias. That includes Untapped, Letterboxd, Twitter, Facebook, all that jazz. So yeah, I guess we'll go ahead and close out. Anything you guys are looking forward to?
Should we say anything about Darren?
You know what?
is napping.
We should. He's napping, but you can always hit him up on Twitter and Instagram at the Disco Dork.
You can ask him what his week in Dork is.
Yeah,
you can ask him what he thought about Toy Story 4.
Yeah, or he'll probably just talk about Godzilla, King of the Monsters.
Should we say? Yeah, he will. Should we say anything nice about Billy?
We should always follow at the WB Dash.
Yeah.
He is the indie
He's
dork.
the indie dork, but
but he is at WB Dash on Instagram and Twitter. So check out all the dorks.
His lovely wife made some after their trip to New Orleans. Made some gluten-free, dairy-free beignets for us, and they were delicious. We ate them all though, Brian. I'm sorry.
Oh, no worries. All right, guys, that is going to do it for this episode. We will catch you all next week. Go out and check Toy Story 4 and all the content that we have coming out. But until next time.